Okay, this question you've asked me to have a look at is a fraction. So what you have is a trinomial on the numerator and a trinomial on the denominator. So another word for trinomial is a quadratic, and in order to factorise a quadratic we use the grid method. So what we're going to have to do is factorise the numerator, the quadratic at the top, factorise the denominator, the quadratic at the bottom, and then see what happens. So if you look at the numerator, this is what we have, 4x squared minus 4x minus 3, and we're going to use the grid method to factorise this. So what we do is we take the coefficient of the x squared term, multiply it by the n term. So 4 times negative 3 gets us negative 12, and we're looking for the factors of negative 12, which will add to get us negative 4. So we could use 1 and negative 12, negative 1 and positive 12. These combinations would both multiply to get us negative 12, but would they add to get us negative 4? No, they wouldn't. So let's look at 2 and negative 6, or negative 2 and positive 6. So would these two combinations multiply to get you negative 12? Yes, they would. Which one would add to get us negative 4? It would have to be this combination here, which is positive 2 and negative 6. So we fill out the grid as normal. Top left box we put the first term, bottom right box we put the last term. And we input these two terms not as 2 and negative 6, but as 2x and negative 6x, because they have to add to get us negative 4x. Right? Doesn't matter if you put the negative 6x there or there. The important part is they're in the grid, and then we fill out the grid accordingly. So the next stage is we look at the top row. So just ignoring for now the bottom row, looking at that top row, what's the highest common factor between 4x squared and 2x? Highest common factor is 2x. So you put your 2x there, that means 2x must go here as well to multiply to get you the 4x squared. Fill out the grid as normal, positive 1 and negative 3. These become my brackets. Just do a wee check. Does negative 3 times positive 1 get you negative 3? Yes, it does. So to factorise that first trinomial, we had 4x squared minus 4x minus 3, and that's factorised to 2x plus 1, 2x minus 3. Okay, and we'll come back to that again at the end. So that's us taking care of the numerator of our fraction. Now we'll factorise the denominator. Same idea, it's a trinomial, it's a quadratic, so take the x squared term, the coefficient of the x squared term, multiply it by the n term. 2 times 3 gets us positive 6. So we're looking for our factors of positive 6. We've got 1 and 6, 2 and 3. We've also got negative 1 and negative 6, and negative 2 and negative 3. But for now I'll just look at the positive factors and see if that helps us. Right, so we are looking to get two numbers that will multiply to get 6 and that will add to get is negative 5. So what we're going to have to do is, does positive 1 add positive 6 get us negative 5? No. Let me try negative 1 and negative 6. If you add them together, well, that would get you negative 7. So that's not going to work either. 2 and 3, you times both of those numbers together, it gets you 6. If you add those together, it gets you positive 5. We don't want positive 5, we want a negative 5, so let's try negative 2 and negative 3. If you times these together, it gets you positive 6. If you add them together, it gets you negative 5. So this is the combination we use. So filling out our grids, top left box we put in the first term, the 2x squared. We put the positive 3, our last term, in the bottom right box. Okay, so now we need to input this into our grid, but not as negative 2 and negative 3, but as negative 2x and negative 3x. Okay, now we look at that top row and ask ourselves, what's the highest common factor there? Highest common factor is 2x, so that goes on the outside, which means that this has to be an x up here in order for this to 2x times x gets you to 2x squared. This means that this over here must be a negative 1, because 2x times negative 1 is negative 2x, and down here will be a negative 3, because negative 3 times x gets you negative 3x. Okay, so this becomes our brackets. Do a quick check. Does negative 3 times negative 1 get you positive 3? Yes, it does. So the trinomial, or the quadratic we started with, was this one. And we've just shown that that factorises to x minus 1, 2x minus 3. Okay, so what we have now is we have factorised the numerator and factorised the denominator. So to finish off the equation, I'm going to bring down this board here. Now you've already factorised the numerator, and when you did that you got 2x plus 1 brackets 2x minus 3. And when you factorised the denominator, you got x minus 1, 2x minus 3. Okay, so you've factorised, and now you need to simplify. So you'll notice you've got 2x minus 3 in the numerator and the denominator, so we can cancel. And what we're left with is 2x plus 1 all over x minus 1. And that's your final answer.